Hello, hi, a very happy good evening. So this is Krishnaveni and we've been talking about the story of life on earth, and that's biology. So welcome to my session. So today we are talking about mineral nutrition. That is the second chapter in your plant physiology. So for all those who are new to my lecture, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I talk about a class 12 topic, and Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I talk about a class 11 topic. So today is Thursday. So here we are talking about a class 11 topic. So we are talking about plant physiology. That is mineral nutrition. So I hope all of you are doing good. Yes, so come on guys, so please do like, share and subscribe. So let your friends know. Here we are talking about the entire syllabus of NEET biology. Hi Shimpi, yes, a very happy good evening. I am good. How are you? Yes, so Rishika, hi, good evening. So thank you so much for joining my session. Come on, both of you quickly like, share and subscribe. Hi Vinu, yes, a very happy good evening. So thank you so much Vinu for joining my session. So I hope you're doing well now. Yes, so please do like, share and subscribe. Okay, so today it's a new topic, so we're going to talk about plant nutrition. So if you ask me, plant nutrition is more of a theory where you have to remember which metal ion does which function. Okay, so Avneet ma'am will not be taking syllabus wrap up, so she will not be continuing that series. Okay, so I will be continuing. Okay. Hi Anthony Abhi, yes, a very happy good evening. So thank you so much for joining my session. So please do like, share and subscribe. Alright, so this plant nutrition is a topic where you have to discuss the metal ion and the function of the metal ion. So the frequently asked type of question is they will ask you to find the correct match or the incorrect match. They will give you a metal ion and the corresponding function. You have to find whether it's the right function or if the given one is a wrong function. So how do you remember the functions of the metal? So it's not that you're new to biology, so you have some idea about the cell, you know how some process happen. So some you'll be able to correlate, but some by repeated practice you will get it. So it's not that everyone will get it instantly. Yes, as you read, you will get an idea. You will be able to correlate. So once you're done with mineral nutrition, once again with these metal ions, we'll be able to correlate with the equations that we are going to see in the next topic. So please don't worry if you're not able to remember. So this is the first shot that we're going to give for the chapter. So everything will not happen in style in the first shot. It's okay even if you take so many trials. Okay, but do it in style. So that is your tag. That should be your swag line. So, okay, so lecture 1 of mineral nutrition. So, although this topic along with your transport in plants, they have a weightage of only 1%, but it is still important that we do not miss anything from this topic. The weightage is only 1%. The transport in plants also has a weightage of only 1%, but still it is essential that we do not miss anything from these chapters. So talking more about it, so before that I want to announce, so we are having a mentee at 6:30 p.m. So as promised, it's going to be a fun mentee. We are only going to discuss about the examples of animal kingdom. So the number of questions are more, but I have kept the same time because 15 seconds will be too much of a stress for you. So I have kept the same 20 seconds. So let's see who wins. So only non-chordates, that is from Porphyra to your hemichordata. So please go through all the examples as well as the common names, the binomial names. So some important points about that which I have told you in class. So please talk about everything. So please prepare for everything. So we are going to have a fun quiz at 6:30. So please do join. At least share the link of the mentee with your friends so that it will be an easy way. Okay. Hi Munna, yes, I'm very good. So thank you so much for joining my class today. So please do like, share and subscribe. Okay, so please do join for my mentee as well. It's going to be a fun mentee. So let's see where everyone stands. Okay. Yes, so the leaderboard, yes, I have a twist in today's leaderboard as well, but I'll let you know that in the mentee session, not now. So moving forward with your mineral nutrition. So this is lecture 1 of mineral nutrition. It's a topic which if you do properly, you can finish it off in ease. So it has a weightage of only 1%. So mineral nutrition, so the method to study the mineral requirements of plant. Okay, so if at all I want to grow a plant, apart from the soil, no, I like calling you Munna. That is very cute. Anyways, you're the youngest here among all the students. So it's okay. I will call you Munna. Okay. Okay. So if I have to grow a plant, out of the soil, so what are the minerals that I should give? So we know that soil enables the plants to grow, right? Okay, but what is there in the soil that enables the plant to grow? Can I not grow a plant in a test tube? Why can't I grow a plant in a test tube? Yes, I can if I know the composition of the soil, if I know what are the mineral elements in the soil, right? For that, I have to analyze what is essential for the plant and what is not essential for the plant, right? So the method to study mineral requirements of the plant. So essential mineral elements, so these are the topics. So mechanism of absorption of elements, translocation of solutes, soil as a reservoir of essential nutrient, metabolism of nitrogen. So these are all the topics that we will cover in this topic. So what are the methods to study the mineral requirements? So how do I know what are the minerals present in the soil? So we will study the methods. Then we'll talk about the essential mineral elements and their role. For example, manganese is used in the splitting of water and the photolysis of water. We'll talk about them. And how are these mineral nutrients absorbed? So just like your water is getting absorbed by your xylem, by your apoplastic mode of transport, how are these mineral elements being absorbed by the plant? So what is the mechanism? So translocation of solute. So how does the solute move about? Along with the mineral ions, your solute includes your mineral ions as well. Then soil as a reservoir of essential elements. So how the soil acts? So what are the advantages of soil? So where does the soil get the minerals from? So if I say soil has all the required minerals, how does it get from? So can I cultivate an artificial soil? Is that possible? Yes, so that is the question here. And finally, we are going to talk about the metabolism of nitrogen. So the mechanism of nitrogen fixation. So how bacteria fix nitrogen in your leguminous plants. So that is what we are going to talk about here in metabolism of nitrogen. So these are the different topics that we will discuss in this lecture. So I will try to finish it as quickly as possible because I know we have two huge topics in plant physiology, that is photosynthesis and respiration, but still we will concentrate as much as we can. Tissue culture in test tube. Okay, so even to have a tissue culture in a test tube, so what is the media that you're giving? So you grow plants in a test tube. Yes, I agree. So we have read about tissue culture. We have also read about your micropropagation. Yes, I agree. But you give some media, right? So that the plant grows. It's not an empty test tube where you grow the plant. You give some media. So in the picture that I showed you, if you remember, so you should have seen a media, a transparent. It's not a transparent. It is a translucent media. So it is somewhat grayish smoke color. So a media is given. So that has all the essential minerals. So what are those essential minerals? So can I take how much of a concentration I want of iron, how much ever I want of calcium, magnesium? So will the plant be fine with how much of a concentration I take? Yes, so that is the question. So that is why we are studying this chapter. Yes, good evening. So thank you so much for joining my lecture today. So please do like, share and subscribe. Yes, Shubham sir, a very, very happy good evening. So not good afternoon, it's good evening. It's 4 o'clock. So please do like, share and subscribe. Hi Pooja. Yes, good evening. Once again, it's good evening. So please do like, share and subscribe. Okay. So let's talk about the topics one by one. So the first one, the introduction. The basic needs of all living organisms are essentially the same. So when we were talking about biomolecules, if we have to analyze the living tissue as well as the Earth's crust, we found that we had the same components, right? Okay, so we have someone new. So Jessica Dahlia, hi, good evening. Yes, thank you so much for joining my session. So please do like, share and subscribe. So here we are talking about mineral nutrition. We are just beginning the chapter. So you are here at the right time. Okay, so basic needs of all living organisms are the same. So be it a living tissue, be it the Earth's crust, we're all made up of the same components. So we have the same organic component and we have the same inorganic component. So that is what we found out by the chemical method, right? The chemical analysis where we did your where we used your trichloroacetic acid method. Yes, we had an acid soluble portion and an acid insoluble portion. So that is what we found out, right? So basic needs of all living organisms are essentially the same. So we all require macromolecules. So the macromolecule portion includes your carbohydrates. So all of us need carbohydrates. So we need glucose in our body. So the carbohydrate that you take comes from the rice that you have. The proteins and fats come from the wheat, water and minerals. They are all needed for the growth and development. That is why we require macromolecules. In a nutshell, we all need energy to survive. We all have to grow and develop. So we need the macromolecules, and all living organisms have the same or require the same Not the same amount, the same type of macromolecules, but the amount can vary. For example, a dog needs more amount of proteins, whereas some needs more amount of fat. So it differs. So the amount of carbohydrate we need may not be the same amount the elephant needs. So it might need a different proportion. So that is what this line means. So this chapter focuses on the inorganic plant nutrition. So we are not talking about whether the plant needs glucose or not. Yes, the plant produces glucose by the process of photosynthesis, which we'll be elaborating in the next chapter. So here we are going to focus on the inorganic plant nutrition. So inorganic means other than carbon containing compounds like your nitrogen, your sulfur, your potassium, etc. So we are going to concentrate on all of these. So the role of essential minerals, so if I say nitrogen plays a role, so where does it play a role? If I say iron plays an important role, so where does it play a role? So their major deficiency symptoms and the mechanism of absorption of these elements is what is the eye of this topic. So these are the topics we are going to discuss in detail. So this in a nutshell talks about the overview of the chapter as well as the introduction to this chapter. Is this clear? So we are moving forward to the next, the first part of the chapter, the methods to study mineral requirements and the plant. So how do we know which mineral is needed for the plant and which is required in what quantity? How do you assume? So how do you know you need protein in this amount? How do you know you need protein in this amount? So in a day, how much of protein you should take? How do you know? So what if you eat 100 apples in a day? What will happen? Of course, no normal human being will be able to eat. So even what if you eat you eat 6-7 apples a day? Too much of anything is also not good. But how do you know you need proteins and all? How do you know in this quantity you have to take? So people who are very health conscious, they literally weigh the amount of calories they eat. They do not eat cake, which is the highest, which has the highest calorific value, but they know, okay, so this much of protein is needed. So this much of carbohydrate is needed. This much of vitamins is needed, right? How much kg weight we have, that much gram we need protein. Okay, yes, you are almost right, Pooja. Okay, so you know, because the doctor tells you you have to have so much of proteins in a day, you have to take so much of carbohydrates. So who is the doctor of a plant? So plants do have doctors, kya? So do plants have doctors? So doctors come and tell to the plant, so dear rose plant, you have to take so much of protein, so please take them. Is that how it's happening? Yes? No, right? So how do we know what are the mineral nutrients it needs? So even we need iron, right? So when you lack iron, we suffer from amnesia. So the same thing with plants, but they do not suffer from amnesia. So that is a different disorder. But this is how it happens because they are also living organisms, right? So in 1860, okay, so Julius von Sachs, plants grown to maturity in a definite nutrient solution in complete absence of soil. So please remember the name Julius von Sachs. So this was the name of a scientist, and look at the year in 1860s. Where we are still wondering about the world war that happened. People were actively involved in research as well. So we were so much involved in talking about the flu that spread, the world war that was happening, the economic crisis that was hit, but still people were very focused on the research. So you do not have to remember the year, but it's just for you to make a quite contradiction of how we are and how people were before. So in 1860s, Julius von Sachs, so that is the name of a scientist. So he had grown plants to maturity. So what is maturity? So they are not young anymore. So they have attained the level of maturity. So they are ready for their reproductive phase. So they have grown plants to maturity in a defined nutrient solution in the absence of soil. He had a defined nutrient solution, meaning iron this much %. So iron 2.5 grams, sodium 3.75 grams. So he had a defined solution and he grew the plant well up to maturity in the absence of soil. So this was the first benchmark in this field of development. So this technique of growing plants in nutrient solution is known as hydroponics. So in a normal soil you have mud, but I take a test tube, so I have this nutrient solution. So I weigh iron, I weigh sodium. So in yes, so in tissue culture also you use a media, no? So I am just talking about the media. Yes, tissue culture is also a type of hydroponics. Okay, so in chemistry lab, you have your Fe crystal, Fe2+ crystal, copper sulfate solution, so on and so forth, right? So I measure all of them, I mix it in water, I heat it for some time, it becomes a jelly-like fluid, then I grow my plants in that. So I'm not going for mud, I'm not going for soil, right? So this method of growing plants in nutrient solution is known as hydroponics, okay? Yes, it is a method where plant grows without soil. Yes, you're absolutely right. So the aim, what is the aim behind finding this out? So culture plants in a soil-free defined mineral solution. So why do you want to do this? We have a lot of problems to look forward to. Why are people working in this field? Now, why do you have to grow plants in the absence of soil? So soil is there. Why don't you put the plant? Why does it not grow? The plant will say, no, I will not grow here. Does the plant say so? No, right? So even if you do not take proper care, the plant manages to survive. So even if you're off for a trip for 1 week, yes, the plant still survives, right? Then why do you want to do this? Why do you want to bring out a culture that is absence of soil? Why are we talking about hydroponics? What is the need? Why should we go for tissue culture? Why do you need the media? If a plant can well grow in the natural system, then why are you mimicking it? Which method is more beneficial for growing crops, with soil or with hydroponics? So that is the question that I am asking you. That is the same question I am asking you, but framed in a different way. I am asking you, why should we study this when naturally plants can grow well in the same soil? To protect some endangered plants. Okay, to protect some endangered plants, okay, you can bring a fertile soil, you can bring manicure, you can bring biofertilizer. So we spoke about biofertilizers, biopesticides. Why can't you grow them? Where soil erosion takes place, there hydroponics is useful. Okay, so if soil erosion is happening, make sure or plant something, some type of plant which prevents soil erosion. Why go for such a complicated process? Hydroponics can grow many plants. The natural soil was the one which introduced us to plants. So you say soil is not efficient enough. How did human beings come to know plants are there? Because it was growing in the soil. At a moment, we can get many plants. Okay, so I have a field. Okay, I am planting 100 coconut trees. So after 20 years, yes, all the tree is going to give me the plant, it's going to give me the coconut. Yes, I can sell the coconut, I can sell the tender coconut water, I can make coconut oil, I can make coconut chutney, yes. So a coconut tree takes so much of time. Even if I grow it in hydroponics, it's going to take the same amount of time because that plant is developed in such a way. I'm not doing any genetic engineering, right? So I'm just growing the plant. Okay, so say coconut tree is huge to grow in a test tube. So we take a small rose plant. So the rose plant grows in the test tube also, it grows in the soil also, then grow it in the soil. Why do you want to do lab work? You're wasting resources on lab work as well to procure the minerals, to procure the test tubes. Yes, why do you waste time? To determine the essential minerals. So what are you going to do determining it? Only because you wanted to do hydroponics, you're determining, because you want to make a defined nutrient. If it's growing in the soil, it's growing, no, it's fine, because we have come up with other techniques. If there is less yield, yes, we have biotechnology which came into picture, which helped your BT cotton. Then if it was a fungi, tobacco plant infecting the, a nematode infecting the tobacco plant, we came out with RNA interference to provide nutrients for whom? To provide nutrients for whom? Because you should know to differentiate why each topic is being studied. So biotechnology we studied to combat the challenges that we are facing in the agricultural field, in the medicine field. But what is the need of plant nutrition? So why should we go ahead with tissue culture? So what is the need of tissue culture? We can grow plants in space or in sky. Okay, so by hydroponics you can grow plants in sky. So where? On top of the aeroplane. So when you are on board in a plane, so you just walk out of the plane and say, wait, I'm going to plant a tree. Is that what you're going to do? Yes, is that what you're going to do? So to provide nutrient for the plants. Yes, I'm asking you, why can't you do biofertilizer, biomanure? They also add strength to the plant, right? So then what is the need of hydroponics? This is a very good question that I found out, you know? To detect the plant in the absence of any nutrient for step towards self-efficiency technology. Okay. For example, if I have a particular piece of land, okay, so now my plant is growing, but after one stage it dies. It's growing fine, but after one stage it is dying, but I'm not able to find out why it is dying. So when the research was made, it was found that it was not getting enough essential nutrients. So yes, soil is there, soil is natural, I agree. But sometimes not all soil provide all mineral nutrients to plants. So if you want to provide your plant with all the essential minerals, so why can't you formulate one? Why can't you formulate a media which has all the essential nutrients which is needed for the plant? So that is the reason we do hydroponics. Of course, your natural method of growing plants is more advantageous because sometimes it cannot be very appropriate. But in case of plants which are unable to grow, which do not get enough nutrients, which has deficiency symptoms, so there in that case, it needs to absorb the minerals, right? So in that case, you do hydroponics, okay? So just like if you ask me if a natural method is fine, ma'am, natural remedy is fine or taking vaccine is fine, both are safe in its own way, both have plus and minus in its own way. So similarly, so it is not a waste of time to study about hydroponics, so it has its own essentiality. So if at all I am doing a plant resistant, if at all I am doing genetic engineering, I am cultivating a plant resistant varieties, okay? So I am doing a mutational breeding, so I am having a pest resistant plant. So that pest resistant plant, because of the genetic engineering, needs more amount of magnesium now. So that much of magnesium is not present in the soil. In that case, my entire genetic engineering, the process goes wrong. It goes waste, right? So in that case, I can use hydroponics where I know defined nutrient solution. I know, yes, this plant needs calcium in this concentration, magnesium in this concentration, right? So that is why we go for hydroponics. Of course, this has its own advantage and this is not a waste of time. The aim was to culture plants in soil-free defined mineral solution, thus making the plant free from deficiency symptoms. So in digestion and absorption, we also spoke about deficiency symptoms, right? So the same thing, so to prevent the plant from deficiency symptom, because plants do not have accents, yes, how much water can you give? If you have a deficiency symptom, if you have, say for example, you have your vitamin B2 deficiency, okay? So you take accordingly fruits, but plants are giving fruits, but how do you solve the deficiency disease of the plants? You have to give the ion as such to the plant, right? So that is why we are formulating a defined nutrient solution. So K-Rule, hello, hi. So thank you so much for joining my session. So please do like, share and subscribe. Yes, thank you so much. So as long as you understood, yes, even I am happy. Okay, so this is the reason why we are talking about soil-less culture. So we require purified water and mineral nutrient salts, just like the salts that you have in your chemistry lab. Okay, so we just take the salts in appropriate composition and we mix them and we make a nutrient solution. But yes, with some twists and turns in the process of making media, it is not easy making up your plant media because the pH also matters. The soil has a particular pH. Yes, these ions have a particular pH. So if I add Fe2 plus and Cu2 plus, of course I cannot expect, so what will be the pH? If the pH is alkaline, then I need an acidic pH sometimes. So I have to use buffering agents to bring the pH down. So it is not easy to do a lab work also, but still that gives us more advantage. Okay, so we are saving the plant from deficiency symptoms. So mineral solutions suitable for the plant growth are identified. So this is the reason we are going for hydroponics. Now you have to make a list of all the mineral nutrients that you need. Yes, okay, so now you're going for admission in a college. So for the admission procedure, they ask you your TC, your 10th standard mark sheet, your birth certificate, 12th standard mark sheet, right? So you first make a checklist and then you keep ticking whichever you have taken Xerox copy. So similarly, when you have to travel, when you're going for a 1-week trip, so you make down the list of things that you have to carry. You make a checklist and then you make sure that you have packed everything. So similarly, first we are going to make a checklist of what are the essential minerals that a plant might need. Okay, so here we are making the checklist for the plants to find out what are the essential minerals. So certain things are very essential. So in your travel, to take a goggles or not, so goggles is your coolers, is a secondary thing. But to take medicines with you, to take an umbrella with you, so these are essential items that will save you from very tough consequences, right? So there are some nutrients which are very, very essential for the plant and some nutrients which are not really essential for the plants. So first, now we are going to make a list of all the nutrients that are required by the plants, and then we are going to classify them as essential, non-essential, the one that is needed in less quantity, that is micronutrients, the one that is needed in more quantity, that is macronutrients. Okay, 16 nutrients are required. Is it 16 or 17? So I guess you forgot one. So your plant will run short of one nutrient then. It's okay. So that was a good try. So let's go forward and talk about the nutrients that we need. So hydroponics was successfully employed in the commercial production of vegetables like your tomato. So tomato can be grown in hydroponics in the absence of soil. Seedless cucumber and lettuce can also be grown. So nutrient solution must be adequately aerated so that it gives us optimum growth. Fine? Yes, so hydroponics, so this is how you grow hydroponics. This is soilless culture. You give them a defined nutrient media. Okay, so moving forward, so the list of essential mineral elements. So the most mineral elements present in the soil, they enter through the roots of the plant. So only in the previous chapter, that is transport in plants, we spoke about the concentration of nutrients being less in the soil and more in the plants, and it moves by active transport through the root hair, right? That is what this statement defines. So most minerals, be it essential or non-essential, they are present in the soil and they enter the plant's roots through roots. So root is the only source of entrance that they have into the plant. So roots are also the only way by which plants can suck in the nutrients. So 60 out of 105 elements are found in plants. So totally we have 105 elements present on globe. Okay, so out of that 60 elements are found in plants. So which means a plant needs all the 60 elements, but 60 are not essential. Okay, so we are going to study only about the 17 essential ones that we need. So which means the plant has a higher concentration of minerals, right? So some plant species, they can accumulate selenium. So selenium is also a type of metal, is also a type of element. So others can accumulate gold. Some plants growing near nuclear test sites, they accumulate radioactive strontium. So which means they are just accumulating. It is not that they need these metals. Just because a plant is growing near a nuclear site, it is taking up whatever is present in the soil, but it may not need them, right? So they are just accumulation. Now, if you do a diagnostic test for the plant and if you find, oh, strontium is there, so strontium can be an essential nutrient. No, it is just present. Even in your body, you have a lot of unwanted things, right? Not needed by your body, but still you have them, right? So similar to that. So plants sometimes take up because it is present in the soil. Epiblema of roots. Okay, so we say root hairs of your epidermis. Yes, you're right. Sunflower can accumulate uranium. Yes, Pooja, so you are very, very fast. Very good. So techniques. So there are techniques which can detect minerals even at a very low concentration, as low as 10 to the power -8 gram per ml. So as low as this, so as minute a concentration as this can be of minerals can also be detected. So we have techniques to detect the concentration of minerals. So the question is, how do we decide which is essential for plants and which is not? So here I told you they just accumulate, not that they need, but it is present in the soil. They just absorb it and they just accumulate it inside them. So then how do we decide which is needed, which is not needed, which is essential, which is not essential? Now how do I make my defined medium? So now I am making the checklist as selenium, strontium, gold, but these are not essential nutrients. Then how do I find out which is essential, which is non-essential? Yes, good evening. So thank you so much for joining my session today. So please do like, share and subscribe. Yes, how do we decide? So there is a criteria for essentiality. So just like that, you cannot join a good medical college. You have so many criterias. You have to appear for NEET. You have to pass NEET. You have to be in this category. You have to get this cutoff. In that, you have to have a merit list, you have to have an A rank of this, so on and so forth, right? So similarly, for a mineral to be essential, we also have a lot of criteria. These are known as criteria for essentiality, okay? Okay. It's okay, you can read it again and find it out, okay? So the element, so this is the first criteria we are talking about. The element must be the element must be absolutely necessary. It should not be even waste. Even if I'm having 2.5 grams, all the 2.5 grams should be used in the essential metabolism of the body. So it should be absolutely necessary, supporting normal growth and reproduction. Okay, it should support the important process of growth and reproduction of the plant, and in the absence of the element, the plant should not complete their life cycle or set the seeds. Only then it is called an essential element, right? So now all of us needs oxygen to breathe. So if for a day the atmosphere decides, if the universe decides, so let's not supply oxygen, it's not possible. It's not possible. Even when the atmosphere is giving us this much amount of oxygen, we are still in search of oxygen cylinders. So when there is no oxygen, even the normal people cannot breathe, right? So that is the most essential. So can we live without water? Nowhere in India we are having water. Nowhere in the world we have water. So then it's not possible. We can't even imagine a situation like this. So that is the worst nightmare anyone can get, right? Yes. So element should be absolutely necessary and it should support normal growth and reproduction. In the absence of these elements, the plant should not complete their life cycle or set the seeds. Example of essential element could be water. Okay, so water is a compound. Okay, when you have two elements coming together, you have a compound. Okay, so that is a substance, that is a compound, you can say. So I have hydrogen element and oxygen element coming together to make water. The plant needs hydrogen as well, the plant needs oxygen as well, so that it has water. Okay, yes, fine. So this is the first criteria that you should remember. So the requirement of the element should be specific. Okay, so it's like if I need red color, I need red color only. You cannot give me orange color. So red and orange, of course, guys, has a lot of difference. It is not the same color. So a lot of people say it is also red, this is also red. No, red and orange has a very stark distinction. So if you cannot differentiate, that means you have to get your eyes checked. Okay, so it should be specific. If I am looking for orange color, yes, I need orange only. You cannot give me red. Okay, it should be specific. This is just an example. If the plant needs iron, yes, it needs Fe2 plus only. So, and it should not be replaceable by any other element. So, if I can replace red by orange, then why do I have a color as red? I can keep it as orange only, no? If I am able to replace something by something, then the first thing that is there is not needed, right? If I can replace A by B, then why should there be an element called A? I can use B itself. So that does not fit into the category of essentiality. So point number 2, the requirement of the element should be specific and it should not be replaceable by any other element. Okay, so study with Sam. Hi. So thank you so much for joining us today. So please do like, share and subscribe. Okay. So deficiency of one element cannot be met by supplying other elements. So if at all a plant is suffering from the deficiency of element A, so I give the plant element B. Then if the plant is fine, then what is the purpose of studying element A? Directly I can study element A. So that should not be the case, right? So this is the second criteria for essentiality. So number 3, element should be directly involved in the metabolism of the plant. So we have a lot of metabolism happening, which you will talk about in the next 2 chapters that we are going to see. That is photosynthesis and respiration. So there it is needed in metabolism of a plant. Okay. So this is criteria number 3. So an element to be essential should fulfill these 3 criteria. So you should remember these 3 criteria for me. So once again, let's revise the criteria. So number 1, so criteria number 1, it should be absolutely necessary. It should support normal growth and reproduction. So in the absence, it should not complete the life cycle or set seeds. That is, it should not germinate. Okay, so the requirement of plant should be specific and it should not be replaceable by another element. So deficiency of one element should not be met by supplying another element. That does not prove the importance of element A, right? So number 3, the element should directly be involved in the metabolism of the plant. Okay. So if you want water and if you are providing juice, that is still fine. are still fine. So someone is very thirsty, so they just need something to drink. In that case, juice is fine. But every morning, every day and every night, if you give them juice instead of water, that is not going to work. Yes? Okay, so like me, you guys also come up with weird examples. So which means we're all sailing in the same boat. So that is fine. So these are the criteria. Okay, so Pooja has noted. So Anthony, Abhi, your understanding? We know clear? Yes? Okay, so essential elements. So based upon the above criteria, so we have read 3 criteria. Only so classifying the metals based on those 3 criteria, only few elements are found absolutely essential that are needed for plant growth and metabolism. So from the above criteria, they try to sort out which element is needed for, which element would be essential. So they found out only a few of them is essential for plant growth and metabolism. It's okay. So the more the fun we have, the more good the session goes on. You do not have to be sorry. So even I come up with stupid examples sometimes. It's okay. Your example was also good. I liked it. So divided into 2 broad categories. Yes, so we have categorized the handful of essential elements into 2 categories depending upon the amounts that we need them. Okay, so we have divided into 2 broad categories based on their quantitative requirements, based on the amount the plant needs. Fine. So first is your macronutrients. Macro is more. Macro is big. Then micro. So micro is small. You have your micro oven, you have your microwave radiations. So they are minute ones, right? So we have categorized the essential nutrients based on the above 3 criteria, and we have classified them as macronutrients and we have classified them as micronutrients. All right. So these are the 2 categories. So yes, so plant needs nutrient at every stage in their life and at every single step. So plants cannot survive without minerals. So the plants fall sick and we do not have doctors for plants. Do we have? Yes, do we have? So if we have, please tell me. I also have a plant in my room. So if I have to get my plants vaccinated, I will get. Yes. So just like we have veterinary doctors, do we have doctors for the plants? So I know if you have a dog, you have to get your dog vaccinated, but I didn't know if you have a plant, you have to get vaccinated. You people will tell me if plants have to be vaccinated and if plants have a doctor. So farmers are their doctors. Okay. So farmers give birth to the plants, meaning they sow the seeds and they harvest the crop. So farmers are the doctors of the plants. So if a farmer knows everything about the plant, then why is he using biopesticide? Then why is he having less yield? Okay, so this is a bit of tricky question. So let's stop our stupidness here. So talking about the macronutrients, okay. So macronutrients, the one that is needed in larger quantity. So generally present in plant tissues in larger quantity. So how much larger quantity? 1 kg, 2 kg? No, in excess of 10 millimole per kg of dry matter. So what is dry matter? So if I take a normal living tissue, the living tissue will be fresh, will be wet because it has water content. So every living tissue has water, right? So when I weigh a normal living tissue, so it is called as the wet weight, okay? So when I evaporate the water that is present, then that is called as dry matter. So when I say macronutrients, yes, macro means more, but how much more? So it should be in excess of 10 millimole per kg of dry water. So that should be the amount of macronutrients that should be present. Okay. So this is the first point you should remember. Then carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, potassium, calcium and magnesium. So these are the macronutrients. So once again, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, potassium is K. We do not write P, so we write P for phosphorus, K for potassium. So calcium, and then we have magnesium. So all the elements that are represented by the single letter maximum comes in your macro element. So it is CHON, PKS, CAMG. So these are your macro elements. So how many are there? One. So CHON, PKS. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, 9 of them are your essential macronutrients. Okay, so of these, your carbon, hydrogen and oxygen are obtained from the carbon dioxide and water. So water is directly provided by your soil. Your carbon dioxide is coming from the atmosphere. So CHO is not needed. We need not supply them. They are directly present. So CHO can be taken out. So it starts from your NPKs, calcium and magnesium. Okay. Yes, we provide NPK by means of fertilizers when you are growing the plant in the soil, when you cannot transfer it to the test tube. So that time you have to give fertilizer. But if it's a small X plant you're growing, there you can give NPK directly. Okay. So please make a note. So these are your essential macronutrients. So what is the condition for macronutrition? The macronutrient, it should be in excess of 10 millimole per kg of the dry weight. Okay. So carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, calcium and magnesium are your essential macronutrients. Out of these, your carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, they are provided by your water and your carbon dioxide. Okay. So the others are absorbed from the soil as mineral nutrition. Done? So shall we talk about the, okay, so now talking about the micronutrients. So you have trace elements. So micro means small quantity, right? So which means trace elements which are needed in small amounts, okay, less than 10 millimole per kg of the dry weight. So your macronutrients were greater than 10 millimole per kg of dry weight, whereas micronutrients are less than 10 millimole per kg of dry weight. So you should remember this number, beyond which it is a macronutrient, below which it is a micronutrient. Yes, I am taking class every day. So Monday to Saturday we have class. We meet twice a day. One at 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. The other one from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Okay? Yes. So this is the trace element. So it is needed in small amounts, less than 10 millimole per kg of your dry weight. So this includes your iron, manganese. So iron, manganese. So you have your copper, you have your molybdenum. So you have your zinc, you have your boron, you have your chloride and you have your nickel. Okay. So I guess this is MO, not MB. Yes. What is the letter codon for your, element, the symbol for your molybdenum, MB or MO. So these are your micronutrients. Okay. So all your double letter elements are comes under this except your boron. So boron is an exception. So we start with iron, manganese, copper, molybdenum, it's MO, zinc, boron, chloride and nickel. So these are your micronutrients. Fine. So in addition to the 17 essential elements, so how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So in the previous slide, the macronutrients were 9. So micronutrients are 8. So totally 17. So Rishika, I guess you said 16. So you understood which one you missed. So it is an element. It is also an element just like your iron and copper. Okay, Pooja? Yes? Fine. So in addition to the 17 essential elements, you have some other beneficial elements like your sodium, your silicon, your cobalt and selenium, which are required only by higher plants. So these are also essential but not to all plants. So in general, basically a plant requires 17 essential nutrients, both including your macronutrient and your micronutrient. So apart from that, certain plants require sodium, silicon, cobalt and selenium as well. Okay? Yes? So that is only needed by higher plants. So moving forward, so let's talk about the function of your essential elements. So essential elements are grouped into 4 broad categories or on the diverse of the functions. So essential elements are micronutrients and macronutrients, but what is their role? So where is my calcium being used? So where is my iron being used? Where is my copper being used? So where they are being used? So they are categorized into 4 types, okay? So depending upon their usage. So components of biomolecules. So these essential elements can be components of biomolecules and hence structural elements of the cell, because biomolecules are structural elements of your cell, right? So like your carbon, your hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen, they can be components of your biomolecules. They can form your carbohydrates, they can form your polypeptides, they can form your lipids. So first category based on that function is that they can be components of your biomolecules. Fine. So number 2, components of energy related chemical compounds in plants. So like your magnesium is in chlorophyll and phosphorus is in ATP. So ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. So it is a high energy compound, right? Yes, so phosphorus is an element that is needed in ATP. So ATP is the energy currency. So they can be used in the components of energy. So related chemical compounds, so like your magnesium and your phosphorus in your ATP. So this is the second classification based on their use, okay? So moving on to the third one, activate or inhibit enzyme. So magnesium 2+ is an activator of Rubisco and PEP carboxylase. Ma'am, what is Rubisco? What is PEP? Yes, we will talk about them in the next chapter. So don't worry, as of now, we will talk about Rubisco and PEP carboxylase. Remember, certain elements are used to activate or inhibit enzymes. We also read about cofactors and coenzymes, right? We also read about metal ions there. So some can be used to activate or inhibit an enzyme. So example is Mg2+ is used as an activator, Zn2+ is used as an activator, and molybdenum is used in your nitrogenase process. Fine. So this is the third category based on which your elements are classified. So point 4, the last category, some essential elements, they alter the osmotic potential of the cell. Potassium plays an important role in the opening and closing of stomata. So in the previous chapter, we were talking about opening and closing of stomata is due to the rigidity of guard cells. That is also due to the change in the osmotic potential. So when does water move inside the cell? When it is placed in a hypostonic solution. So once again, the ionic concentration plays an important role. So these essential nutrients or essential elements are used in these 4 categories. Okay. Rubisco is mostly found enzyme amongst all other enzymes. Yes, Rubisco is the mostly found, not find. It's a past tense. Okay. Yes. So these are the 4 categories. So please make a note. So based on this, we have categorized. So if I tell you phosphorus, now you can tell me where it is used. It is used in the components of energy related compounds. So where is calcium being used? So calcium comes in the components of your biomolecules, or it can also be used in the essential elements to alter. So these are the 4 broad categories on which it has been classified. Fine? Yes? Okay. So moving forward, the role of macro and micronutrients. So essential elements perform several functions. So they participate in the metabolic process. So these are the common functions of the essential elements. So you will note down them one by one. They participate in metabolic process. So that is why they are an essential element. So what is the metabolic process? Permeability of the cell membrane. So the first thing, the membrane should be permeable to the essential element. So only then it can be used in your metabolic process. Maintenance of osmotic concentration of the cell sap. So limited, so whatever is needed for the osmotic potential, so that has to be maintained. Okay. Electron transport systems, they play a role in your electron transport system. Buffering action. So buffering action is to maintain the pH. Then you have enzymatic activity. then they act as major constituents of your macromolecules and your coenzymes. So these are the general functions of your essential nutrients. So number one, they participate in metabolic process. So that is permeability of the cell membrane, then maintenance of the osmotic concentration of the cell sap, electron transport system, then buffering action, enzyme activity. They also act as components of your macromolecules and your coenzymes. So yes, we are first going to start. Buffering action means to maintain the pH. So you have my video buffering, right? It is trying to get back to normal. So if at all there is an osmotic imbalance, the ion moves inside to retain the pH. Okay? Yes? So nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium. So I will stop here. In the next class, we will talk about each of the element in detail. I guess the introduction itself was pretty too long and lengthy. So I will stop here. So in the next class, we will talk about the elements one by one. Okay, so we will start off with nitrogen in the next class. So before that, please do join for my mentee at 6:30 p.m. Yes, I hope you have understood. If you genuinely understood or like the way I teach, so please do like, share and subscribe. And thank you for being a wonderful audience, and I'm waiting to meet you at 6:30. So until then, stay tuned, take care and bye-bye.